At the end of 2016, there was a lot of discussion about various things, various matches, etc. And always you're going to get the question at the end of the year, going into the new year, what was the greatest match of 2016? And a lot of people said Styles versus Cena, Styles versus Jericho, Styles versus whoever, Nakamura versus Sami Zayn, etc. But a lot of people, and again, I have to smile and be a little sarcastic because I was there, mention Revival versus Gargano and Ciampa at TakeOver Toronto. So why not do it one more time? What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal, Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, here for the first time in 2017 with your January 11th NXT review. We've finally gotten out of the holding pattern that NXT was in for a little while, because really they were just televising house shows from their international tour, which is cool, but it's the only downside of going to a house show. You know nothing's really going to change. Nakamura's the champ, and the tag team champions were made to look really, really good, and the women's champion fought Nia Jax because of reasons. But we're back. We're back at Full Sail. We're back rolling towards TakeOver San Antonio. We start with a backstage segment, or a backstage video from earlier in the day. Peyton Royce and Billie Kay attacking Asuka. Now I get it. It's a collection of heels going out against the face champion. You know, you got very much a Jericho and Owens type situation, but that at least makes sense because in the male demographic of wrestling, there is a tag team division. There is an element of tag team to it. Peyton Royce and Billie Kay are a cool team, but it's not like they have a tag team title to go after. It's just they're bitchy and they're not quite ready to do anything else. But they are in the opening match and they're going up against Macy Evans and Sarah Bridges. Apparently one of these chicks is Crazy Mary Dobson in the indies, which is apparently a big thing if you pay attention to Twitter. I don't know. You guys know I don't watch the indies. They make really short work of these women. It's not even really a match. This Sarah Bridges chick gets in a series of dropkicks and a hangman, but the rest of it is all heel double teaming by Royce and Kay because they are the heels being pushed. Double team facebuster. I don't remember who did it to who because I really don't like Royce and Kay, and they're decent in the ring, and I get it. They're doing the play by the numbers heel shtick. But they're so interchangeable, except for one's always dressed in blue, one's always dressed in green, and it's just one of them basically does a facebuster onto the other's kneecap, and that's a pretty decent looking finisher, as I say, for a tag team in the women's division. And then they do the Jericho Owens thing. They talk about how they are going to be the women's champion. They brag about beating down Asuka, when beating down Asuka was really just throwing her into the side of the van and dumping a drink on her head. And you know, from the NXT crowd, you get the very predictable Asuka's gonna kill you chant. Asuka comes down, she's selling her injuries, which is great, and she's holding her head, holding her neck, you know, making it look like she can't walk quite as fast as she usually would. But she comes down to, you know, show she's got the babyface fight and the babyface spirit, and she's a little bit crazy, but she falls to the 2-on-1 beatdown once again. And then you think she's got a savior, because Nikki Cross, of all people, from Sanity, come down, and she takes out Peyton Royce and Billie Kay, which is great. Because she's crazy, Asuka's crazy. Even if she's turning momentarily face, you've got a crazy babyface team to go against these teams next week, I guess, which is a story that you could parlay into next week, but that's about it. Actually, after the bullshit on 205 Live last night, I gotta be careful how I use the word parlay. But they could be a team for a week. But what we got was even better, because after Asuka got herself up off the ground, she ate a dropkick from Nikki Cross, for reasons, who beat her down, stood tall over the champion as she left the ring. In the back, she cuts a very illegible promo, but like illegible on purpose promo to one of the interview chicks in the back. So she's gonna take the women's title, which means I'm gonna get what I want, which is nice. You guys know I like when I get what I want. everybody was swearing all up and down that the next one in line to take on Asuka for the Women's Championship in NXT was going to be Ember Moon, which I have no problem with whatsoever, because she's kind of the next big. They've put a lot into her entrance, they put a lot into the presentation of her, and they keep her off TV enough so that when she's on TV it's special. But you could play that out for a little bit longer. I really want to see Nikki Cross versus Asuka. Heel crazy versus babyface crazy is always a lot of fun. Ember Moon sort of has that Finn Balor, that demonic, that extra phenomenal factor to her, and that could be fun as well, but we could save that for Orlando, if they want to go that way or turn it into a triple threat match or whatever. I didn't think we were going to get Nikki Cross in the title picture this soon. Happy to see that we are, and I'm pretty much guaranteeing, I haven't read the spoilers, but I'm pretty much guaranteeing that that's going to happen at San Antonio, and that's going to make me a happy kid. What doesn't make me a happy kid is the fact that Elias Sampson still has a job. He's not that exciting in the ring. His gimmick is fucking cringeworthy, and he's facing some other jobber named Jonathan Cruz. The singing gimmick is getting very, very old, as I say. The only thing that entertained me in this entire squash match was the crowd singing the usual Drift Away along with You Can't Sing, which is, I guess it's an annoying gimmick, and it's an annoying gimmick by definition and by design, because he's a heel. He's supposed to annoy you, but it's you know, it's one of those look up the definition of X-Pac heat. That's what this guy's got. It's not boo, you're such a good heel. It's boo, we don't care, and that's worse. I don't know what else to say, because a lot of people saw this guy come in, and and I wanted it too. Wanted him to be something good. The drifter thing, maybe if he's a drifter, he'll be crazy or he'll have some super intensity. No, he just sings badly on the ramp and squashes people we don't give a shit about, and that's not gonna draw interest to the show. Sorry guys, don't know if you can tell, still feel like shit. My voice is still all over the place, so if I sound like shit, like I said on SmackDown last night, sorry in advance. Andrade Cien Almas versus Oney Lorcan. Almas is another gimmick that I just can't stand. It's so cheesy, it's so stereotypical, and it's so almost offensive stereotypical. And then you got Oney Lorcan, who is pretty plain, and every time I see Oney Lorcan in a match, he comes out and I don't care, and he impresses me in the match, and I care by the end of the match. I don't know what that says about him, because he's not, he doesn't have a character, really. He doesn't have a persona, he doesn't have an image, per se, but he wins you over gradually through the match every time he has a match, and the same thing happens here. And obviously I'm going to cheer him because he's going against Almas, who I just wish would drift away along with Elias Sampson. Headlock by Almas and a takedown by Lorcan. Chain wrestling and a dropkick by Lorcan. Blockbuster and a slap in the throat by Lorcan. The slap in the throat was like AJ Styles type of back fist to the throat, and it looked really, and it's like I said on SmackDown last night with Natalia's modified sharpshooter, it looked awkward. It almost looked like a botch, which made it look more painful, which made it more effective. Back and neckbreaker by Almas and a mudhole stomp. Lorcan eats turnbuckle and he goes right into an armbar by Almas. Snapmare by Almas, rolling back elbows by Lorcan, running uppercut and a corner splash by Lorcan. Alabama slam into the turnbuckles by Lorcan, and I had to rewind and watch this again, because after what happened with Sting and Rollins last year with the injury to Sting and Sting having to retire because of that buckle bomb, I'm surprised that they would pull out a move like this, and I don't think I've seen it before. The Alabama slam into the top turnbuckle rather than into the ring. Decent little spot, and if that's one of his signature moves, then good for him. Almas takes him out at the knee, hits him with the quick hammerlock DDT, and gets the win, literally out of nowhere. And then Almas, if he's not stereotypical enough already, shouts a promo in Spanish and then shouts at the audience for not knowing Spanish. Yay. We got a Nakamura interview basically setting the stage for his match at TakeOver San Antonio with Bobby Roode, which is going to fucking steal the weekend, as far as I'm concerned, which is all good. Then you get to what we all came for. Revival versus DIY. DIY is still a retarded name for a tag team. DIY is literally do it yourself. you're not doing it by yourself if you're in a team. It's I have to give credit to CB Over the Ropes podcast, formerly known as the Bear Hug It Out podcast, which I've told you guys to check out many times, and you should. And they're good. They got an upgrade. They got sponsorship, and they had to rebrand their podcast. But I still suggest you guys go and check it out. And they said calling a tag team do it yourself is about as good as calling a tag team the Lone Rangers. And it's true. It doesn't make any sense. Doesn't change the fact that they're probably my favorite team right now. I mean, Wyatt and Orton are a cool team. Obviously, American Alpha are on the come up on SmackDown. And literally, Raw doesn't know how to book tag teams because it's Raw. Anyways, Gargano and Dawson start. Collar and elbow tie-up. Gut shots in the corner by Dawson and a clothesline. Atomic drop by Gargano. Back elbow by Ciampa. Tandem drop kicks and tosses out of the ring by DIY. Armbar by Gargano. Atomic drop. Clothesline by Gargano. And here we go. What has been the story of every match, every feud, every chapter of the feud between Revival and DIY? It even spilled over into the Cruiserweight Classic, which I thought was amazing. The knees of Johnny Gargano. So we get a chop block by Wilder, a shower of elbows to the knee by Wilder, a drop kick to the knee, punches to the knee, wrapping the knee around the post, cheap shots on the apron by Dawson, a tree of woe with both members of the Revival beating down on the knee. It's just, not only is it great psychology, great psychology that you see even less in tag team wrestling than you do in singles wrestling, but it's also psychological. It's almost like Revival saying, remember how we took you out. Remember how we took you out this time and this time and this time. Remember what this feels like. And it's fucking great. And you can see Johnny Gargano selling it. As soon as they turn the attention to the knee, all the attention's on the knee, and it's fucking great. Dawson tosses Gargano out of the ring, and Wilder eats the post. Shoulder tackle by Dawson, guillotine by Wilder, one-legged crab by Dawson on Gargano, still working the leg. Fucking amazing. Elbow drops to the leg by Wilder. Enziguri by Gargano. If you want to point out that that's a bad sell, I won't hold it against you, but he does, as soon as he hits the Enziguri, go back to selling the leg. Almost an immediate, why the fuck did I do that? Hot tag to Ciampa, gets rolling elbows and knee strikes and 3 German suplexes for both members of the Revival. Running knee by Ciampa, clothesline jackknife combination by the Revival, looked pretty sick. Drove him into the ground like the proverbial tent spike. Super kick by Gargano, and again, immediately as soon as he hits the super kick, crumples down, selling the leg. Fucking wonderful. Armbar by Ciampa. Gargano goes for the springboard spear. It gets blocked into the shatter machine, which gets cut off by Ciampa. Suicide dives that go, I think, farther than they were supposed to go by both members of DIY. DDT by Wilder in the ring. High knee by Ciampa. Enziguri by Gargano. And as Dash and Dawson are in the center of the ring, trying to help each other back to their feet, they're close enough together that DIY can hit that meet in the middle, that high knee, high kick combination that they do from the corners, and get both of their opponents and pin both of their opponents for the most decisive victory you can ask for in tag team wrestling. It's the double pin. This has to be Revival's send-off. Revival should not touch NXT after this match. This was the perfect way to send them out. The way Nakamura gave Sami Zayn his last match in NXT before Sami Zayn moved up, that's what this was for the Revival. They had their moment right at the end where they're helping each other up, they're desperate, they're trying to make one last strive for victory, and it gets cut off, and both members of Revival are pinned by both teams of DIY. Like I say, decisive as fuck. The most decisive type of victory you can ever have in tag team wrestling, and already on the list of great matches for 2017 is NXT, January 11th, Gargano, Ciampa, Dash, Dawson. One more time, and I'm guessing the last time in NXT. Fucking great. Gargano and Ciampa are broken in the ring. They're celebrating, they're, hugging their titles, etc., etc. And then you hear a different bit of music playing. It's the music of the Authors of Pain, who have always existed in the background. Paul Ellering coming down the rampway, not saying anything, not doing anything, and they get jumped from behind by the Authors of Pain, who hit the Super Collider, which is the awesome name for that tandem move that they do, where they powerbomb their opponents against each other and then into the mat. NXT ends with Gargano and Ciampa, who just retained in a tag team classic, with their belts being held up by the Authors of Pain, clearly setting the stage, like I say once again, for TakeOver San Antonio in one night. Because like I say, NXT's been in a lull. NXT's been showing repeat footage. They've been showing house show footage, which is fine. Gives them 2 weeks to build up to TakeOver San Antonio Royal Rumble weekend. Already, we know we got Shinsuke Nakamura versus Bobby Roode. We can pretty much guess that we're getting Asuka versus Nikki Cross for the women's title. And it's a pretty damn safe bet that we're getting the Authors of Pain versus DIY. With all the possibilities in the world of Dillinger, Joe, and Revival seeing the main roster sometime in February. The show was slow to start tonight. Finished with a bang. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. That's another cliche that we toss around all the time with wrestlers, with matches, with storylines, etc. If you want to go by that cliche, the way this show ended makes this show great. Great way to kick off 2017 for NXT, TakeOver San Antonio. Put it down in the box below. I really want to know what people think about the women's title situation. Did you want to see Nikki Cross get the first title shot, or did you want it to be Ember Moon? Nikki Cross, Ember Moon, Asuka. I like Liv Morgan, even though most people don't. And in a pinch, you got Peyton Royce and Billie Kay waiting in the wings, along with Aaliyah, who got to wrestle on SmackDown a couple weeks ago. So a while ago, where we thought the women's division was basically done because they lost Becky Lynch, they lost Alexa Bliss, they lost Charlotte, they lost Sasha Banks, and they went from those 4 main women to having at least 6 other reliable substitutes. So NXT is gonna be all right. Anyways, I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I will talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I am tagging out. Bye, guys.